Hey guys, ScrawtVermillion here, and I am very excited to be back with the complete guide series. We're gonna start with the menace, the top 1 allegations, Ciel, Powered Ciel, and I'll be accompanied by none other than Erin, a pillar of the Melty Blood type Lumina community. So Erin, take it away.
Powered Ciel, or Ciel for short, is a slightly unorthodox, very strong, and very fun to use character who dominates the space around her on the playing field with her massive moves. She is well-rounded, with one being able to play her aggressively or passively with great success. That is, if you're able to master her kit. Ciel is a character all about space control. In a game filled with strong zoners, smothering rushdown characters, strong pressure, and intense system mechanics, Ciel is a shot of ginger in a game of wasabi. She is the great Neutralizer. Her game plan is very matchup dependent, as her role as the zoner or the aggressor changes more than other characters. She has larger normals than everyone else, but she has no projectile. In matchups like Vlav, Red Arcuid, or Ciel, Ciel often takes the role of the aggressor. In matchups like these, she combines her fast ground speed with her long-range moves to close space. In turn, versus brawlers such as Tono, Koma, or Saber, she finds herself using these same tools to keep them at bay, mixing in tools like Charge 214A and 236B. Ciel's flaws are few and far between. The first and most predictable is that the frame data on her B and C normals is quite slow. Although this is surmountable on an opponent's block via reverse beat, there is no such workaround on whiff, leaving her open to whiff punishes if she spaces herself poorly, or makes an incorrect movement read. Her 236A, often called Gun, does not face this issue due to its whiff cancelable state into its follow-ups, but often loses to jump-ins, meaning her zoning tool of choice can be called out with a good read and a hard commitment. Furthermore, Ciel's access to unreactable mix is fairly limited outside of throw, a tool she sometimes discourages herself from doing by virtue of her spaced pressure. Finally, she is one of 2 characters in the game without the ability to cancel her air normals into each other, meaning air-to-airs or some shield situations are more difficult to navigate on her than on more regular characters. These flaws are far from debilitating, but do come up often enough in matches against strong players or strong characters. Despite these flaws, Ciel remains staggeringly well-rounded, holding a very solid matchup spread even against her fellow top tiers. It is no surprise that she has cemented herself as one of the strongest characters in the game for a very long time. Notable Ciel players include myself, Erin, Omnisyph, Lo, and Crystal, all in NA, Shinoaki Wiz, Rahika, and Satoru from Japan, Aooni from Korea, and Charby from France.
As aforementioned, Ciel's neutral changes heavily depending on her matchup. However, her strongest tools tend to remain the same. Ciel's neutral tends to revolve around 3 key tools: Gun, Jump C Charge, and 5A. Gun has several follow-ups, the important one being 4A and B, which transitions gracefully into the B recursive, and is very consistent pressure starter, allowing her to go into her 6C for plus frames. This move most often sees use as a great counter poke and stop sign of all approaches. This begs the question, if Gun is her best counter poke, what are her best pokes? The answer lies in JC, 2C, and honestly, Gun again. 2C is her longest normal, meant to catch opponents trying to walk away from her. And Jump C is a belligerent move to start pressure, start a combo, approach, retreat, anything else you can think of. This comes at a cost of its long startup and telegraph nature. These weaknesses are not all enough to dissuade her from using this as one of her main neutral tools in every matchup, especially matchups versus characters with tools to outrange Gun. This sequence will often anti-air rising opponents, frame trap mashing opponents, punish backdashing, start pressure versus blocking opponents, etc, etc. All prefaced by a simple 5A. Ciel's B normals do not see much use in neutral, although 5B can be used as a decent poke at the mid-range for the shorter range characters. Ciel's responses to air movement are also very strong, despite her 3C being among the worst in the entire game, which is important as her air-to-airs are somewhat lacking. Her 623A is one of the best anti-airs in the entire game, being jump cancelable on whiff and extremely rewarding on hit with a massive hitbox. Her 5A, 5C, and 236B can also work as suitable anti-airs. It depends on the different air movement that the opponent uses. Her quick ground movement lets her run under opponents easily. It cannot be understated how helpful and important Ciel's ground speed is. It enables all parts of her play and transforms her neutral from solid to nearly flawless. Despite the importance of her zoning, Ciel is encouraged to eventually take the space she earns after establishing some large hitboxes. oftentimes approaching with either 236A or an overshot 5A5C, using 66C as a consistent pressure reset, especially in the corner. Her anti-airs are also excellent, making great use of 623A to snap aerial opponents for very high damage. Typically, a character of this archetype would struggle on defense. PCL sees no such struggle, sporting a 5A, 2A, and an invincible reversal on 623B. She carries a 9-frame 236A to contest space pressure underneath a frame 3B, which beats air dashes and throw attempts.
Powered Ciel's block strings mainly focus on her enormous normals to keep her at a range that is very difficult for the opponent to contest. However, the nature of her long-range moves forcing her opponents to block often also makes her very adept at threatening strike throw baits, and other close-range pressure. Her rebeats at close range are fairly strong, but somewhat punishable. However, at far range, her rebeats in block strings excel at making her pressure from a far distance as ambiguous as possible. That is, alternating between rebeating, using the follow-ups of her C-normals, and other pressure like her 236 series. Mixing up all these options at long range will condition your opponent into continuously blocking, or otherwise trying to escape at a time that will result in a punish for you. For example, let's zoom in on using 2C after a rebeat. It is specifically used to target somebody doing anything but blocking, but it loses to preemptive jump outs, whereas rebeats into 5C are specifically meant to target jumps. This distinction in intention is important, as they have opposite counterplay, and the punishment for choosing the wrong pressure tool can be harsh. Here, if I want to target PCL's 2C after the rebeat, I can do so by jumping at her. However, PCL can target me trying to do this by using 5C after her rebeat instead. PCL does have to run up to use her 5C due to its shorter range than her 2C, which creates an opportunity for a barre. This underscores the value of shorter range rebeats into gun, but it can't be crutched on since it costs meter to loop. Her 6-6C is plus and forces opponents off the ground, with PCL's 5C being a surefire way to catch nearly all escape attempts afterwards. This 5C, as well as the inherent threat of it, creates an opportunity for pressure to keep her pressure going. Perhaps the most important tool that PCL's 5C after 6-6C beats is an aerial jump. Because it forces the opponent off the ground, if the opponent tries to mash a grounded button after 6-6C, this will also be punishable, as well as any aerial button. Even dive kicks like sabers will get counter hit. Because of this, PCL 6-6C can be used to extend her pressure in other ways besides just 5C. For example, you can run up throw afterwards. Or, if you've run up throw enough times, you can run up and throw bait. You can also do this for plus frames. Or, if you want plus frames another way, you can do this. It's incredibly important. 6-6C becomes one of the cornerstones of your pressure if you play PCL. Mid-screen, the situation's not quite as good. It leaves them quite far away, and if you do 2C to try to police this space, the opponent can air dash in and punish you, and gun won't reach off many hits of 6-6C on block. So you have to be a lot more careful. Another option opponents have when PCL uses 6-6C in the mid-screen, although difficult, is backdash. This polices almost everything PCL wants to do, and she has to go pretty far out of her way to punish it. If she wants to punish it, she has to dash and follow you, which leaves her open to many things, such as a falling aerial, or an air dash in. An air dash in will also beat the 2C that she'll usually do to try to police this space. The scariest thing about using 6-6C in PCL's pressure is that it is vulnerable to guard cancel heat. And this is a very important interaction. A good example of the post-heat 6-6C situation can be found here. As you can see, it leaves her pretty far away, but PCL is technically plus off of this. This creates a very interesting and unique and important RPS situation after the heat. PCL can use 2C after this to police most normal and special attempts. However, if the defender wants to target this 2C, they can do so by jumping. This leaves PCL very open if she makes the wrong read. However, she can counterplay this too. By using 236B after the heat, the opponent can be punished for trying to jump out. However, this too has a flaw. As you can see, if the opponent does nothing, PCL's Rekka does not make contact. This leaves her open to being whiff punished, or, in the case of a blood heat, potentially last arced. So, it has its own risks associated with it. As such, this post-heat interaction is a crucial moment in nearly all of PCL's rounds versus opponents who choose to engage in this RPS.
Ciel Okizeme is very straightforward and you pretty much can do the secret recipe here and we'll teach you. So mid-screen after 6-6C with 5B and super jump C. This auto times a safe jump that beats every shield follow-up and leaves you far away. You can also do it by doing air dash into super jump B. This variation does lose to BC shield, but it's still a safe jump and it keeps you up close. So there are situations where you want to use this one instead. After 6-6C in the corner, you want to whip 2B instead of 5B. The neutral jump, drift forward, and jump C. You have to do the jump C close to the ground. It's a little difficult on the timing, so definitely lab it out. Off throw, you can straight up just jump B, and that's an immediate safe jump. Super easy. After EXDP, macro back into a delayed jump, and you can set up a 50-50 if you're good enough. It's going to be very ambiguous, so make sure to lap this out. This one is actually really good. This next piece of Oki was popularized by Yui, and thus is called the Yui Oki. After a 6-6C in the corner, if the opponent is in 2C range and has no Moondrive, you can use this Oki. This is done after 6-6C, you want a neutral jump, and prepare at 2C charged. This is an unblockable move, it's an amazing round closer, and it's very layered. So the idea is that the opponent has to 2C, to low shield the 2C, but you can layer this by just whiffing and getting a punish in the shield. And as you can see, this is huge reward right here. So the idea is that it's a knowledge check, but there are a couple things you can do. You don't necessarily have to do this. You can also do the overhead option if you know that they can crouch shield. So there are a couple layers that you can implement into this mix-up that are very strong. And that about does it for this episode of Complete Guide. Thank you so much, Erin, for your help. Thank you everyone that has been supporting the channel in its time of inactivity. I really appreciate it. I really appreciate that people have come up to me in tournaments, tell me Scrawt, I love the content, man, keep it up, keep doing it. It really motivates, man. That's the reason I'm back right now. One more thing, and this is actually very important. While recording for this video, Erin had to go through a very rough situation with their family. They're currently in need of support as they're getting kicked out of their place and they're trying to figure out what to do from here. I left a GoFundMe page. If you felt like you learned something, if you really want to support Erin, if you want to help them, say thank you for the knowledge, thank you for this guide. I would really appreciate anything on that GoFundMe page. I will put it in the description of the video. Thank you so much. Leave me in the comments what character would you like to see next for the Complete Guide series. There might be some reworks as the old guides. You know, they're a little deprecated, patches have passed, time has passed, there's more knowledge from the characters. A lot I want to talk about, man. I want to do the complete shield guide again. I want to talk about some common situations. So stay tuned to the channel, hit that subscribe button, hit a good like if you appreciate it, and you all have a great one.